Hello, everyone. I don't know at what point of your day you may be catching this, but I am Sylvia Hill, founder of Transcending Heights, Empowering Each Other, LLC. And I'm sitting here today, and I've been gifted or granted this opportunity to just speak with you all a little bit about some of the things that the Lord has been working on within me. So, one of the things I love to do that I never thought I would be able to do is provide inspirational messages on Facebook. I also do this on Instagram as well. And so the Lord just started really working on me. 2020, the pandemic hit. People are at home. They're closed off from family, work, and other things like that. So I started asking the Lord, what can I do? What can I do at this point in time to just make a difference? Oh, and he began giving me some words. And so 7 days a week, he provides me with some type of word, some inspiration to just reach out to others. And so I'm so honored today to just be able to share some of what he has been working on me with. My favorite book, well, one of my favorite books, because I love to read. This is The Power of a Positive Woman by Carol Ladd. In this book, she talks about the power of effective prayer, faith, courage, and the value of friendships. And so this book right here really helped me when I was going through some things, felt kind of alone, was struggling some with whether or not I was really going to be as effective as the Lord was preparing me to be. You know, sometimes we have a little doubt. Lord, are you sure I'm capable of carrying this out? But this right here is a very powerful and inspirational book. And so I encourage anyone, you love to read, she breaks it down. There are lessons in here. The Power of a Positive Woman by Carol Ladd. So one of the words that I shared for this week is mission. So Mission Monday. And we know that a mission is a group or committee of persons sent to a foreign country to conduct negotiations, establish relations, provide scientific and technical assistance, or the like. Also, a mission is any important task or duty that is assigned, allotted, or self-imposed. I am sure that we can all think back to a time when we first discovered our mission. Maybe we did not fully understand why we enjoyed something, or why it just felt so natural when we were doing things. But we found a sense of purpose or meaning through those actions or works. At agencies, there is a mission statement that guides the purpose or objective for that entity. And employees are expected to know and adhere to the mission statement. Whatever our mission is, and I don't know about you all, but whatever our mission is, we can strive to do the best we can to make a positive impact. Writing, serving, teaching, speaking, and interacting with others to enhance unity, provide resources, and elevate are some of the goals of my mission. At times, our mission work may seem very tedious, and we wonder whether we will be able to fulfill our mission. But I want to remind us today that the Lord will supply us with everything we need. He places people in our paths. I don't know about you all, but I can truly attest to nothing that I have accomplished has been on my own. It has been the Lord, and it has been the people that he has placed in my life. I was just talking with someone earlier today about how sometimes I wonder if the messages are even touching anybody. Or are they really serving the purpose that they're intended to serve? But every time doubt creeps in, or even my own maybe negative self-talk about myself, the Lord sends someone my way to confirm that yes, you are helping, even if it's just a change of perspective, even if it's just to encourage, to think about, even if somebody approaches us in a certain way, we're trying to do the best we can. We don't know what others may be facing or dealing with. So prayer, like I say, this book the power of effective prayer, the power of connecting with him on that personal level. And then he gives us whatever we need to say to someone. Sometimes just our presence. You just don't know. You just don't know how much God can use you if you allow him to. And I'm sitting here as a living testimony today to say that at one point I viewed myself as so small. My problems, my past seemed so great. But once I truly began to allow him to use me, once I truly learned the importance of self-love and respect, he began to elevate me in ways that I never even imagined. I'm talking about spiritual growth, emotional growth, mental growth, even social growth. You know, sometimes we go through things, and even with this mission, we meet different people, and sometimes we wonder, Lord, is this another test, another challenge that you have for me? But when he places us in people's lives, even sometimes people that may seem like they really don't get us, or it might be a little challenging, he knows what he's doing. I promise you he knows what he's doing. Because sometimes just that light that shines within you is what a person needs to know that there is still good in this world, that there is still empathy, that there is still compassion. So part of this whole mission word is just encouraging all of us to dig deep down inside of ourselves and ask the Lord, what would you have me to do with what you have blessed me with? And then he begins to increase for us, to increase. And I'm not just talking about materialistic. Oh no. I'm talking about a whole new perspective on things. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about your faith is increased. Your works are increased. And along with all of that, guess what? More responsibility comes. But he's already equipping us with everything we need. So no matter what your mission is, strive to do the best that you can. And even when things seem challenging, just remember, nothing is too great for our God. Nothing at all is too great for our God. And I love to provide spiritual nourishment from what I like to call the book of life, but it is better known as the Holy Bible. Let's see what we have for today. Mark 10:45 NIV. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Galatians 6:9 NIV. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. 1 Peter 4:10 NIV. And I want everybody to listen really carefully to this one. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So what are we talking about with this particular word? Mission. What is your mission? What is your purpose? And I know part of the definition said about going to foreign countries to negotiate and different things like that. But even in our own communities and neighboring communities, there are needs. We still see a lot of violence going on. And so what can we do when we bring our gifts together? And don't look at your gift as being so small, or sometimes we get into that comparing ourselves with others. No, he has gifted all of us with a spiritual gift, something that we can bring to the table. So I don't want for any of us to be discouraged, but rather encouraged that when we come together in unity, peace, love, our faith is grounded in him. He begins to do marvelous and miraculous things that we can never even imagine. Never even imagine. And y'all already know I'm not coming with anything but positive vibes, love, joy, increase in faith, a sense of hope. A sense of hope. Mission Monday, Mission Monday, Mission Monday. Yes, so my brother Ralph and I, who goes by Plaga Jr. on Facebook, we have a show on YouTube. It's called Let's Talk About It. And so in one of our episodes, episode 1, we were talking about the importance of talking, being able to talk about your feelings and your emotions, and that it's not really a good idea to assume that people really know how you feel or what you need. And so when we get to the point where we're able to talk, and we know that we can talk to the Lord at any time about what we need, but also talking to him also about what should I say in any given situation. So talking about things, making things available for our young people to know that they can come talk to us without judgment. We're going to pray with them and for them. We're going to be templates, and through that means that we make mistakes too. So I've learned the biggest thing sometimes is even talking to young people to be like, I apologize. I thought that you meant this.
Recently on one of your lives you were speaking about being sociable. Would you like to explain more about that and how we can become more sociable human beings?
Well, we know that sociable deals with associating with or being in the company of others, and so kind of what I was talking about for that particular message was how sometimes we kind of hinder our own growth, maybe from low self-esteem or being concerned about what other people may say about us, and so we may refrain from interacting with others that we don't know, or we feel as though there's nothing that we can bring to the table in these interactions. But I've learned that once we truly allow the Lord to lead and guide our steps, he begins to, I think I called it a shell, he begins to break the shell for us. And so then we're able to start interacting with others, be more sociable, and we can learn and grow. And so it's kind of like a give and a take, because we can give information that we have that may be beneficial to others, and then in a sense, I say take, but basically they're reciprocating it. So being sociable, stepping out of those shells, those comfort zones, and recognizing that we all have something to bring to the table.
When I think about sociable, I think about, I guess that being like root word, also the society, and also association.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm guilty by association, because one thing that's pulled me back from being as sociable as I can be is because I probably associated with some of the wrong individuals or as a whole. So I do feel like that's put me in the shell now, because, the more sociable I was and the more people saw I was a good individual, a good person, or I genuinely cared, it seemed like I was taken advantage of. But I do understand, man, that in order for me not to stunt my growth, and in order for me to grow spiritually and evolve and continue to get better and better as a person, I do need to associate and be sociable with people that are trying to do things, in a better way in society. So it's like, man, I'm completely starting back over, completely fresh from, probably from 21 up until probably 30. I feel like, man, I done made a lot of, decisions, sociable decisions that I probably shouldn't have made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, and so I'm glad that you brought that up, because I definitely don't want to get off the impression I'm saying, oh, just go out there and just be sociable with everybody. I mean, I treat everybody with respect, because guess what? I deserve and want to be treated with respect. So we all deserve, respect. I believe that the closer that we really assess our surrounding and our environment, that includes the people that are closest to us, then we begin to discern, as you say, well, maybe sometimes we're not a good fit with people or to be around them. So I'm not saying like you just go out there and be like, hey, I'm just going to do all this and do all that with people that may actually be doing things that could harm you, and harm themselves. But I'm saying it is a growth process, because a lot of times when I used to withdraw and just kind of stay to myself, I was missing out on so many opportunities. Right. So many opportunities. So you're sitting back and you're wondering, why am I still in this same position right here? But a lot of it, like you say, whether it's spiritually or whatever, we learn and grow from others. We're all different and we all make mistakes. So like you say you go back to like 21, and I can say even my early adult life up until probably about 35, 36, I made a lot of bad choices because I always have looked at the potential in people. The potential, even if the truth
came and slapped me in my face that this person right here just has shown over and over again that they mean no good. Now, I'm not going to go out my way to do anything, bad towards them or talk bad about them. Then you separate, you withdraw. We've kind of talked about that before. And then we've also talked about how sometimes when people are removed or things are removed, guess what? He replaces. Right. He replenishes. So I definitely get where you're coming from. I think most of us go through a kind of starting over phase, or as he's working on us and more is being revealed to us, even about like, what am I sending off? Mm-hmm. What kind of message am I sending off that is attracting certain people to me in a sociable manner that may not be in my best interest? And sometimes you inadvertently, both people or however many people that are socializing can actually be harming each other if we're holding each other down, if we're influencing each other like in negative ways. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with you that it's a process. And then a lot of times, just like in therapy, we reassess several times because you might get to a certain point, then more information comes about. Same thing with this sociable concept is that over time changes may happen, it may take place. We may realize there's something different we need to do, or maybe we do need to change our social settings some for growth.
Right, definitely. So I mean, that right there is a thing that has been kind of hindering me, and I've probably been hindering myself, or probably too, because I mean, spiritually, consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, I've been pushing people away for, I want to say, at least 3-4 years now. Like, yeah, man, I've been had an attitude. I've been some type of way because, like I said, and this is something, man, that need to be sociable, need to be spoken out about too. Is, man, the way we gotta be conscious the way we treat good people that's around us, man. Cause my question to you is, how do we balance? How do we bridge the gap? How do we, we're going to be faced with negative people. We're going to be faced with positive people. We still have to associate with negative people, even at our jobs and everything like that. Okay, basically, I mean, she's, a therapist. So even with these Let's Talk About It episodes, a lot of times I want her to kind of enlighten the everyday average person, because we're all going through things at work. If you're in school and enrolled in school, if this is a young person that's watching this, you may be going through different things at school. Trying to be in the in crowd or just trying. Hey, man, hold on real quick, everybody. I apologize to everybody. We are back. We had a couple, it was horse flies flying around, bees, dogs running across the screen, so it was kind of distracting. And we're trying to get a message and a point across. I think what I was actually speaking on before all the flies and everything started flying around was basically how do we balance in the society? How do you stand firm and let people know, man, look, I ain't playing. I'm not playing with you. And then how do you still be friendly is such a, man, I don't really like to use that word friendly, but how do you be sociable? Sociable, man, instead of being an anti-sociable human being in today's society. Because, man, I don't be feeling like talking to nobody.
Yes, you all, please forgive us. It was like we had the attack of the horseflies, and like my brother said, really? There was a dog running across the yard, a bird was like chasing the dog, so it was a lot going on. But right before we had to do that break, you were elaborating like you always do. I just love my brother so much about, with me being a therapist woman, just share some insight. So when I come on these, Let's Talk About It, I'm coming more from, I would say, a Christian standpoint, just every day asking the Lord to work on me and to reveal things to me, and then shedding that light to others, because as I was explaining to him, even in therapy, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. So what may work for you may be completely different from me. So I was sharing with you all my favorite book, which is The Power of a Positive Woman by Carol Ladd. And so I wanted to just read a little bit of it for you. He is worthy of our trust. Perhaps there has been a time in your life when you questioned, can God be trusted? Maybe you've been discouraged after the tragic death of a loved one, or a disappointing layoff at work, or an unwanted divorce. Perhaps you feel even now that God has left you alone in the pit of life. Your faith has been shaken. You are not alone.
Even John the Baptist experienced a time of questioning as he sat in a prison cell. Earlier, John had been the one to boldly declare about Jesus. Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, John 1:29. But now, he was in prison, and his faith was faltering. He sent his disciples to ask Jesus, are you the one who was to come, or should we expect someone else? John could only see the immediate. Sitting in prison, he thought, surely this cannot be God's perfect plan. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe God has left me. Like us, John couldn't see the big picture. He could only see the present. He didn't completely understand what God was up to. Understanding God and his ways are one thing. Trusting him in faith is another. We may have times when we are unable to understand God's thoughts or discern his plan, but we can still trust him. As our Creator and our loving Heavenly Father, he has an eternal plan in mind. He sees the whole picture that you and I only see in part. 1 Corinthians 13:12 explains, in the same way, we can see and understand only a little about God now, as if it were peering at his reflection in a poor mirror. But someday, we are going to see him in his completeness, face to face. Now, all that I know is hazy and blurred, but then I will see everything clearly, just as clearly as God sees into my heart right now. So, as I was reading this book and I began reflecting over various things that I've been through in my life, I remember at a point where I was very, very low. I'm talking about low. I'm talking about I really was beginning to question even me being a good person, because it just seemed like one thing after another was happening. I was in a very unhealthy relationship. And one thing about unhealthy relationships or abusive relationships is that you hear so many messages about yourself, negative messages about yourself, that you begin to internalize these things. And so once you begin to internalize these things, it's almost like you're justifying why the person is doing whatever they're doing. For instance, you go to the grocery store, and anybody that goes to a grocery store knows that it may take some time, the lines may be long and things like that. But when you get home, your partner is like, you were gone way too long, you must have been talking to somebody or doing something you had no business doing. And so you're sitting here and you're questioning, why is it that I have to go through an interrogation every time I go somewhere? And then it becomes even worse when this partner begins to question your children and begins to make your children feel as though their mom is doing something wrong, or their dad, because there are some female abusers as well. So it's not all that males are abusers. But I was in a low place, a very low place. And I remember praying, I remember crying, I remember just asking the Lord to deliver me from the situation. But even with that, sometimes we pray and we say to the Lord that we want to change. But then we kind of fear what that change is going to look like. We become so much of a prisoner in our own mind that even when there are ways to get out sometimes, you stay stuck. You stay stuck because it's like, okay, well, if I leave, is anybody else going to want me? Or in my case, I really felt as though one of my biggest jobs was to love this person unconditionally, show them the love that they had never seen before. But the longer I stayed there, the longer I sat in that prison and I didn't really trust in the Lord that he was going to cover me and my children and take care of us, the more I began to lose me. The more my children began to worry about their mom, when in reality, as the parent, I am the one that should be taking care of my children. So our faith and trusting in the Lord, and I'm going to tell you, when I really, really, really decided to trust in him, I'm going to tell you what happened. We were talking about mission a while ago. I went to a revival. My parents encouraged me to go to the revival. And I felt as though the pastor was actually speaking to me and my situation. I remember him talking about how sometimes people can't go with us where God is trying to take us. And it took me back to even with my Papa Bear, who is my dad. Those that know me know I call him Papa Bear. So when I say Papa Bear, that's what I'm talking about. Even my Papa Bear used to talk about how when you have a chain attached to your ankle and then there's this big old ball or something and you're trying to go along, but you can't get anywhere, or you're moving so slowly because you're trying to carry this big chain and ball around with you. So as the minister was speaking, I felt as though the Lord was truly speaking to me through him. And I began to realize that the Lord is trying to take you some places. You're in school, you're working on your bachelor's in sociology. You're a good woman, you know, you're working and you're doing all these things to be this positive role model for your children. But you're holding on to someone that's not ready to accept that they are hurt. You know, sometimes we have to accept that, you know what, I'm hurt. I haven't dealt with some things. And now I'm projecting it onto someone else. So mission helped me not only in a word from a minister, but then I began to go to counseling for myself. My therapist was able to help me to understand the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships. And so by her really allowing me, and I was very scared at first to even go see someone, a stranger, who's going to judge me and my situation. But therapy was one of the things that really helped me. And that's why I want to do what I'm doing now, not only in my line of work as a therapist, but also just as a spiritual being. Someone who loves the Lord, who recognizes that the Lord loves me. And I've seen what he's done in my life. And so therefore, I want to be able to encourage others that you are not alone. And sometimes your situation may seem overwhelming, but just trust and believe in him, and he will provide you with what you need. People will come to your aid. And then you can go back and you can share your story with others, because you never know who needs to hear, who needs to know that, yes, you can get through this.